Before the weekly analysis begins, I just want to let you know that I do have a Patreon page. We have two tiers available. The first tier is called Start Off for £15 a month, and what you will receive is access to a Discord server containing the beginners, intermediate, and advanced course, risk management course for Elliot Wave trading, as well as financial literacy content. This tier is also for those who want to learn at their own pace and generally just support what I do and just join a community of like-minded traders. The second tier that I have is called the Waveologist for £35 a month, and what you receive is everything that I mentioned above with the addition of specific chart requests for me to annotate on a daily and weekly time frame, and one-to-one support or group sessions depending on how many people have subscribed to this tier. The group or one-to-one sessions are for those people who want a little bit of extra help with their Elliot Wave education, and also give the opportunity to ask me as many questions. Please do keep in mind that these are going to be 1 hour sessions depending on how many people have subscribed, and also I would say please do consider joining. It is really good value for money, and without further ado, let's get into the analysis. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, guys. This is going to be my Elliot Wave count for pound yen, pound dollar, and gold. But first of all, any views, opinions, or suggestions that are expressed in this video do not constitute to trading or financial advice. So let's get straight into it with pound yen. So from pound yen, I said last week that we had this waveform. We could expect some more upside to eventually come, and we did get that upside to come. Not just that, we also had a break in market structure right here, which then followed through with a nice sort of retracement coming back down to then eventually continue going to the upside. Now, could this be the wave for in? Well, that is a possibility, and where we are currently is essentially wave 1 has been complete, wave 2 is already finished, and we have started probably the wave 1 of wave 3, so we might get a three-wave correction back down and then continue going higher to basically complete the fifth and final wave degree of this higher time frame degree basically. So that's one scenario where we could potentially keep continuing to go up. At the same time, we could also see the market still be in that wave 4, and what we have here is simply an A B C into an A. We then have another A B C into a B, and we're getting one more push down to the downside, and that would essentially give us a running flat or a irregular flat, expanded flat, and to then complete the wave 4 to then continue going towards the upside. So with this pair, just be a bit careful. I haven't personally traded this pair this week. I just left it alone. The reason being is because of this scenario. I didn't find the sort of right entry that I like personally. But at the same time, there were a few opportunities that you could have taken. But for me personally, it's a wave 4, and I like to have a bit more of a in-depth or a technical confirmation before I necessarily enter after a wave 4. And for me, in my opinion, I mean, I see this as 3 waves. I see this also as 3 waves that broke the top, and we could potentially come back down one more before we then continue going towards the upside. So that's obviously pound yen, and I hope you guys obviously like that analysis. In terms of where I see this going for the week to come, possibly either two things, which is one, we might see a huge drop coming down, and that's perfectly fine. That basically means that the wave 4 is still continuing. Or two, we could see a corrective move coming, and then to then continue pushing up to the upside, which basically means that the wave 4 has completed here, and then we will see essentially the fifth and final wave in action. So let's move on to gold. So gold has been a bit, I would say, a bit off for me. Haven't been necessarily been trading this as well. We have essentially a impulsive move to the downside after fifth wave completion. So wave 1, wave 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into a wave 3, a running flat into a wave 4, and then a wave 5 push to the downside. And what we have here is simply an A, B, and then a C, and that could be essentially the wave 2 or the wave B, if that makes sense. And this is basically the wave 1 or the wave A. And what we are currently seeing now is the market essentially pushing down to the downside, where we might have a wave 1, wave 2, and this could be a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5 maybe. So this could be wave 1 or wave 3. We could get a corrective move up and then basically continue to push down. So we could see some downside eventually coming with this pair. Another sort of possible scenario is we are essentially still in that wave 2, and we could essentially see the market push to the upside. Ideally, this has essentially hit the 50% level, and we've seen that sort of move back down of this, so 50% retracement of this entire wave. We could also essentially see this market push one more time to the upside, giving us a nice A, B, and a C, which is fine. And that essentially basically means that we're gonna see a deeper or a more. We're still gonna be in that wave 2 or that wave B, um, in terms of where we see this market going. So we had the wave 1 and wave 8 complete. If the market eventually starts pushing towards the upside and we get to see that, then that necessarily means we're still in that wave B and that wave 2, and we will look for a 50% or I look to like for a 61.8% golden ratio rejection to then see the market push to the downside. So with this pair, I would say for this week we could see some more downside coming in, taking these lows, which is fine, and then we might get some more upside, giving us a running flat or an expanded flat as an A, B, C, which will complete the wave 2 or the wave B. Or we could also see the market from here around these levels start to just push up, and then that's fine as well. We'll get an A, B, C as a regular flat. Um, that's obviously for gold. I would say sit on your hands, wait for the right confirmation, and just take your time with this pair. So pound dollar. So pound dollar, I did take a trade on pound dollar, and it did go my way, but it was a bit risky. I didn't really use too much. I just didn't like it, especially the way it's moving. And not just that, it's an X wave, so I don't really like trading X waves. So I just use a little bit, half my position. So um, for me, where I see this market essentially going, what we have here is simply a 535, so an ABC. Gives us a wave W, and we're coming up in three waves here. One, two. Sorry, let me do that again. Just get a bit more closer. So we have three waves here. One, two, three. We have a one, two, three, one, two, three, and then a huge impulse move. So this to me seems like a uh, irregular flat right here. So we have a three waves here, three waves down, and what I'm expecting on the 4-hour time frame, we have a nice pin bar, which basically telling me we might see some more upside. We might eventually get a three wave up, one more down again, and then go up one more time to then eventually push to the downside. Now, this wave W has been complete. So that basically means that if wave W can, I am looking for a wave X, and wave X will usually hit around 50 to 61.8%. So in and around these levels, we could see the market. The market could push up to the 78.6% as well, which is fine. But maybe we could possibly take out these highs before we start to see one more push down to the downside to give us our wave Y, which would then complete the wave X in the higher degree. Um, so where do I see this market going in terms of the week to come? I'm going to assume that we're going to see more upside coming in, and essentially we'll come up one more time, then go back down in three waves, then come up one more time for a deeper correction, take out these highs, and then from then on we might see that push come to the downside basically. And what that will basically do is a 3-3-3, so an A B C or a WXY into an A B C, and then we continue down, and that will be our wave X basically completed. And so wave W here, wave X, and then we essentially come down for that wave Y. And yeah, we are in an X wave, so I would say just be a bit careful and just keep an eye on this. We also have a strong trend line right here, which is has shown nice rejection over multiple times. We have one rejection here, two rejection, so we could possibly come up for that third rejection, and you could basically just do maybe a false breakout and just shoot down, or we could actually start just breaking through, correct, and then come back up again, take out this high, and then obviously shoot down to the downside. So just be a bit careful. A lot of these pairs are in corrective mode. Take your time with it. Don't over risk. And I would say, August is pretty much a crappy month when it comes to trading. The big guys are on holiday, so you know it is a slow month. So just take your time with this month. But I hope you guys did enjoy my video. Please do like, comment, share, and subscribe. I do have a Patreon for all those people that are interested in mentorship. You guys would have access to my private Discord. The link will be in the description down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys on to the next one. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.